No.
Really? Well,
Yes.
I can tell you, I have plenty of cases against Selective, and they're all in-house employees of the insurance company.
I
You wouldn't have
just
the right to
had-
select an attorney like the Ocean JIF lets the borough. I mean, as you can tell, I've been a JIF attorney for 20 years, and I found that the coverage to municipalities to be excellent, particularly with respect to choice of counsel, very few denials of coverage. So I don't share what you said, and I really think that it's inaccurate to stand at a public meeting and say that this borough is paying for Lakewood having a bad year, and that's just fundamentally flawed statement, ma'am.
I didn't say just Lakewood, I'm saying as a
You
whole.
said just Lakewood, just Tom's River, exactly what you said. We have a recording of that.
I'm referring to those two towns because they're the largest on this population.
But that has nothing to do with the insurance cost of South Tom's River. And if you want to provide a quote, you may very well be able to provide a better quote. But don't come in and tell this borough council that they're paying for losses in Lakewood. I mean, it's just fundamentally incorrect, ma'am.
There's no sense arguing.
I'm not arguing with you, but
Thank you
really,
very
I would appreciate you do your homework and come in and make accurate statements. That's an inaccurate statement to make to this council. Doesn't matter what kind of lawsuits Lakewood has against them.
What she meant, and I still think, is that they're talking about the total losses in the pool. Correct?
Well, that's not what she said. I don't know what
Well,
she meant,
the
sir. I'm not a
total
mind
loss-
reader.
all right,
What she
all right,
said
fine. I
was,
can
this
understand.
borough was paying for losses in Lakewood.
I can
And there's a tape recording of that.
Well-
What you're referring to is the joint insurance fund provides dividends back to the member municipalities at the end of the year based upon the total loss experienced by the fund for the year.
Also the cost, I believe.
Well, my understanding is the costs are based upon the loss experience, but
Absolutely.
as opposed to most insurance companies which keep the premiums as a profit, JIF doesn't do that. And I don't know if Selective provides dividends or not. But it would be improper for me to sit here and not advise the borough that, they're not paying for costs by other towns. It doesn't matter what happens in another town, you're not paying for that cost. You're paying for the cost of insurance to you. So, if you want to get a quote from Selective, that's fine, but it's apples to oranges, though, in certain respects.
But what about the statement they made about the total loss for all the municipalities?
My understanding of the way joint insurance fund operates is at the end of the year, there's a dividend back to the member towns. That dividend depends on the overall losses of the fund. So originally towns are allowed to self-insure. And then later there's a statute passed allowing towns to jointly self-insure. And that's what created joint insurance funds. Rather than paying a private insurance company, you pool your resources to cover losses, and then they buy excess policies above that. And they provide a dividend back to the members if you have a good year, and less of a dividend if you have a bad year.
Point I'd like to make, and I was involved when JIF was first started.
1986.
At one time, the insurance companies were very lax. They weren't being responsive to the needs and the cost of the various communities. And they were actually like turtles. They were moving so slowly. The JIFs came in, and they absolutely filled a need at that particular time. All right? 20 some odd years down the line, now the insurance companies have sharpened up their pens, and they've also found out that for them to do what the JIF was doing, they have to do it as good or better. And the only thing I ask for us to do, can we give you a quote with the information that we'll get from you? And if we give you a quote based on the numbers, it'll be just strictly for you, and you make the determination is whether we're giving you, the company we're utilizing, Selective is a A-plus company, and it specializes in towns under 15,000. So I just make that point. We're not asking to do anything against the JIF. What we're doing is put on our own proposal up based on quality company and also the cost to you as a community.
Appreciate that. Do you have a comment, Mr.
I just want to make sure I understood what he said and what you said. If you have an insurance company and the person puts a claim in, because a claim basically means that the person's injured or whatever, right?
Yes.
What you're saying is if the person files a claim, everybody that's in that group, it's penalized because of that claim.
Only if that claim results in, say, an award. But when the award is made, it comes against the pool.
And when you say the award, you mean the award from the workman's comp or the...
Whatever the claim is based on, whether it's a liability claim against the people In other words, somebody alleges they took a fall down in the street, or they allege a manhole covers bend, they trip over it or something. If there's a claim, it comes out of the pool, and the pool predicates what they're gonna charge the various community by how many claims they had to handle.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Betty, will you leave this with me and I'll be in touch with you?
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much for allowing me.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Secretary, nice seeing you. Mayor, could you do a comments and then we have to go to the closed session?
Okay. Is there any public comments? Yes, CFO.
With regards to versus private insurance, the themselves in New Jersey have demonstrated the fact that they save towns a good deal of money. The chips themselves don't charge or don't pay an agent, which private insurance does. The insurance is very comprehensive, their services are excellent, they're up on the laws as far as employment, work practices, and are constantly striving to make their members even more compliant to current standards. On top of the law, they're very proactive, in dealing with municipalities. And I think that if you're considering a move to private insurance, you should really, really take a look at it, because the JIP is the best thing around in the municipality.
I didn't mean to be rude to her, but that statement to suggest, it's one thing to say that they made, you know, if you want to get a quote from them, fine, but to suggest that you're paying for anything that happens in Lakewood or Toms River is simply wrong. It's borderline irresponsible to me. If you remember, the borough became certified, and its risk management plan certified last year by the Mel JIP. All of that work that I did was based upon policies that they provided to us for free. And they have a whole set of policies designed for small towns, which is why we were able to adopt them. So, you know, the Mel JIP doesn't insure, you know, Newark and Jersey City and Trenton. They basically specialize in suburban era type towns. And if you ask for an insurance quote from anybody, I guarantee you, in year one, it'll be substantially cheaper than you're paying now. The reason for that is lawsuits are typically filed 1.5 to 2 years after an incident, because the statute of limitations is 2 years. So typically someone, you know, goes to attorney a few months later, they're treating with a doctor, the lawsuit's filed on average 18 months after the incident. So in 2012, any claims being filed will be from 2010 and 2011, and they'd still be covered by the JIP, because that's what you have today. So essentially, whoever takes over in a new year really has nothing to worry about. They have nothing to pay the first year. So they're always cheaper. And then in year 2 and year 3, they catch up, and you go, oh my God, they've raised their rates. So then you try and go back to the JIP. The JIP says, well, now it's more expensive, but we're buying what, you know, the time period that we didn't cover you. So it's always easy to look and see for that switch, and it always turns out that, you know, there's a reason that every town but 1 or 2 in all of Ocean County, and same thing with Monmouth County, are with a joint insurance fund. It's because it's the best coverage for municipalities. And am I partial? Yeah, but you know, I base that on the experience I've seen. You know, what happens in other towns is you have a claim that they deny. I can tell you that I have cases with Selective. They don't have outside attorneys. They're employees of Selective Insurance Company, which, you know, my duty is not to what insurance fund is paying the bill, it's to the client I represent. So, you know, when you're a in-house employee of the insurance company, that's fine for, you know, an auto case, or you got a car accident, something like that. It's tough when you have a municipality and you have a lot of other issues, and municipal employees, elected officials. It's hard to do that, and that's what they do. They're all in-house employees of Selective Insurance Company. So, it's not the same.
In the 12 years that I've been here, the JIP has paid dividend every year. And it's usually around, I would say, 10% of what we pay out.
I mean, I'm in agreement with your explanation. It does sound logical. If I were in your